Okay, so welcome everyone, and it is great to see this turnout today. Well, let me share the format for the session first. We will first have introduction of the speaker that will be followed by the presentation, and after that there will be time for discussion, Q&A, where you can ask questions or make comments. You can also type in your questions using the chat box. Now, so if you're not talking, let's mute or turn off our microphones to avoid any background noise and distractions. So today's topic is gut health and mental health. In the West, the saying goes, you are what you eat. In the yogic science of the East, the saying goes, you are what you digest. Eating well is not enough. You also have to digest, absorb, assimilate, as well as eliminate well for optimal health. Now, we can be eating the best food, the superfood for packed nutrient value. But if our digestive system is not delivering those nutrients in our bloodstream, then it doesn't do us much good. So each year, over 30 million Americans suffer from acute or chronic digestive dysfunction. And much of this dysfunction is associated with occupational and behavioral stresses. So the state of one's mind affects one's digestive health. And that is why we are having this session today on gut health and mental health. So joining us today from Florida is Leanna May. Welcome, Leanna. Leanna is board certified in clinical nutrition by the American Nutrition Association, and she's a licensed clinical dietitian and a nutritionist in the state of Florida. She received her master's degree in nutrition from the University of Bridgeport, which has one of the most advanced scientific and evidence-based nutrition programs in the country. She's also certified by Yale University in the science of well-being. So welcoming Leanna to this platform, I will now hand it over. So over to you, Leanna.
Thank you so much, Alba, for such a wonderful and warm welcome. It's so wonderful to be here. I'm just going to change this for me too. I love that I got invited to share my knowledge, and this topic is really close to my heart too. Alba, I totally agree with what you said. We're not just what we're eating, but what we can absorb and digest and assimilate. And I think this topic really came out for me from working with a lot of clients, and people would come to me with various things. They would come and say, I want to lose weight. I want to lower my blood pressure. I want to lower my cholesterol. I'd like to get pregnant. And no matter what ailment or illness they would have, they would come to me. We would end up discovering that almost every person would have digestive issues, gut issues. So that was really just to see, I think, just with our lifestyle and what we're eating and the stressors of life and fast-paced lifestyle really affects our health. And that's why I'm really passionate about it, just because I've noticed that when you really help someone to improve their nutrition and optimize their gut health, everything just gets better. It doesn't matter if it's weight, blood pressure, everything, nutrients, absorption, their stress, their anxiety goes down. So yeah, I'm excited to share. Let's go to my first slide. So trust your gut. Hippocrates said that, who is also a known father of modern medicine, that all disease begins in the gut. And this is even more true now with a lot of research where we see that a lot of imbalances, a lot of health issues really start in the gut, and often they start really silently. Sometimes people don't even know that they have an issue, and it can go on for years, and that could impact a lot of other health issues. One of them is thyroid and Hashimoto's. It all really starts in the gut first. So just a really interesting case study story I had with a client, John. He was 75 years old. He had irritable bowel syndrome. He also had small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO. He was extremely stressed and anxious. He lost a lot of weight unintentionally, so he was underweight. And he came to me. He was a person that he said, I've been to a lot of doctors and I've suffered with digestive issues for 30 years. He said, I don't know what else to do. He was very discouraged. He's like, I don't enjoy my quality of life. He would have bouts of diarrhea, so he couldn't really leave the house. And it just really impacted his quality of life too. So we really worked together. We worked on optimizing his gut. We improved his nutrition. We worked on his lifestyle, sleep, exercise, and meditations. And honestly, the number one thing that we started working with him was really his stress first. We worked on nutrition too, but we knew that the stress and anxiety was the driving force behind some of the health issues he was experiencing. So we really started with meditations and yoga, all of those things to really help bring more balance into his life. We worked for about 6 months and he just a different person now. He gained healthy weight. He doesn't struggle with gut issues anymore. He's not anxious. He's happy. He's optimistic, positive. He said he can go and travel now and fulfill his dream of going to Hawaii because he can get on airplane and he doesn't have to worry about frequent trips to the bathroom. So he really got his quality life back. So stories like that really inspire me and help me. It doesn't feel like work to me because I just love what I do. And when you help someone to achieve their optimal health, it's really rewarding for me. So just a little bit about digestive health and some of the surprising facts that if we can spread flat, your digestive system would cover a tennis court. Around 70 to 80% of your immune system is actually located in your gut. Your digestive system produces 80 to 90% serotonin. So most of it is actually produced in the gut, not in the brain. We have more microorganisms in our gut microbiome than our entire body. So here's what I'd like to share today, what foods to eat to support your mental health, why your gut is called your second brain, why is it important to eat probiotic and prebiotic rich foods for your health and your mental health, and what are some other lifestyle factors to help you support your healthy gut, your digestion, and why mental health is not just in your head. A lot of research shows that gut and mental health and a lot of digestive health disorders actually have been linked to the following conditions: depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, a lot of autoimmune diseases such as Hashimoto's, MLS, and inflammation. And so why does stress, what kind of effect does stress have on your digestion? And I'll go into in the next slide a little bit more about the different ways and how we respond to stress. But stress really will slow down the movement. It's going to decrease motility. It will actually divert the blood flow from your gut to the muscles and limbs. You often see reduced stomach acid and digestive enzymes. You also see a lot of constipation,
Make a list and tell her.
reduced nutrient absorption, diarrhea, bloating and cramps, a lot of gut dysbiosis, also intestinal permeability, also called leaky gut. It is where you have those little villi in your small intestine, they open up and they leak, and the food particles escape to the bloodstream, and your body thinks it's an invader, so it starts attacking its own cells. That's usually the prerequisite for autoimmune conditions, and also a lot of nutrient deficiencies as well. So why your gut is called your second brain, and it's also called gut-brain axis. So there is really this amazing connection. Our brain talks to our gut and our gut talks to our brain. We have a lot of nerve endings in our gut, which again, 90% of it communicates back to our brain what's happening. And such a good example of, when we get anxious, if we get butterflies in our stomach, or if we're stressed, we just feel more anxious, or we need to go to the bathroom more. That's really just a really good example of how our brain communicates of what's going on in our gut. If you think of it, our brain really thinks you're running away from the bear. So in that case, your brain is thinking, okay, I'm in danger. Let's say you're in the traffic, you're trying to eat your lunch, and your brain is thinking, I'm in danger, I need to run and flee from the bear. So what happens is your body is not prioritizing that rest and digest mode to take care of your gut, to produce enough enzymes to digest your foods. All of those things just kind of get put on hold in a way. Your body is thinking, okay, I need to protect my life, I'm stressed. So it doesn't prioritize really that rest and digest mode where you could absorb nutrients, where your body is producing enough digestive enzymes. And a lot of research studies show too now that there's a lot of connection how much of healthy bacteria you have in your gut and how that affects your sleep. And so it's amazing what I've noticed too in my clinical practice, what I've learned in school too, that very often when you have someone that have healthy digestive system, they eat well, but they also can absorb nutrients and assimilate them really well and digest them, that they often have healthier mental state. A lot of people I work with that come to me that are anxious and depressed, quite often we find that some of the root issues of their health are not that they are anxious, but that their gut is just struggling. It's either have some kind of bacteria that's usually present in our body, but it got overgrown because of the digestive issues or chronic stress, or they don't have enough healthy gut bacteria because maybe they've gone through antibiotics, and then antibiotics are good. They're needed for our body and they could be life-saving with different infections, but oftentimes, they destroy bad bacteria, but also good bugs too. Or just overuse of certain medications such as acid blockers. They often block the acid, but that gives different bacteria a chance kind of to overgrow, to get out of balance, and that could lead to a lot of things where the person is not absorbing the nutrients. They can't make enough serotonin to or GABA to feel calm. So it's just an amazing connection that you get someone healthy, you help them get their gut health in a better place, and they start feeling better mentally. They could sleep better, and they have less anxiety. So the star of everything is really the vagus nerve. And I mentioned that a little bit, that we have two ways: fight and flight mode. That's when your body is stressed, it's ready to fight, it's ready to run from the bear. And we have rest and digest mode. So rest and digest mode, that's the mode of where we are. If we're in the rested state, if we feel calm, we can eat our meal, it's going to be absorbed well. And that's why it's so bad for us when we are stressed and we eating on the go, or we eating and we watching something on the screens, we're distracted. That really just affects our stress. And vagus nerve is called wonder from Latin language. So vagus nerve is really responsible for a lot of things, just improving your motility, secretion, the production of digestive enzymes, microbial balance, and nutrient delivery. And that's what happens is, if we are stressed, your brain communicates that something is off, something is not working well. So even in extreme stress, your body will stop digesting your foods. That's when, a lot of people, when they're stressed, they're saying, I don't feel like eating. I just don't feel well. I'm not hungry. And that's one of the reasons why, because you're just stressed and your body is not prioritizing that, eating. It's just thinking, I need to fight and flight mode. I need to run for my life. So that's why I always teach my clients that it's just so important to try to eat in a peaceful, calm environment, really savor your food, enjoy each bite, like just really take the time to, you know, enjoy each bite, savor all the flavors. So you're really taking the time to enjoy it. Okay, so what are some of the foods that contribute to gut and mental health issues? Unfortunately, it's a lot of sweet and baked goods, ultra processed foods, trans fat, and hydrogenated oils. There are a lot of them in the US, and a lot of processed foods such as corn, soy, peanut oils, a lot of juices, soda, and sports drinks that are high in sugar, too much alcohol, fried foods, and of course, high fructose corn syrup. So a lot of times I like to explain, why these foods affect, for the most part, they really increase inflammation in your gut, and they often lead to the overgrowth of bad bacteria. They're ultra processed, so they don't have enough fiber, good nutrients that your body needs to really thrive. Your body's having trouble absorbing these nutrients. So it's and then again, for example, with too much alcohol intake too, it can lead to overgrowth of different bacteria, lead to dysbiosis. So then your body can function optimally. It can really, produce healthy bacteria. It can make enough serotonin. So it's all really connected. What we're eating, what we're thinking, what we're doing. So what are some of the health benefits of probiotics? I always encourage all my clients to eat probiotic-rich foods, and I'll share those in the next slides. But also, very often, if someone's having a lot of digestive issues, you might benefit from taking probiotic supplements just because it helps you optimize your gut a little bit faster, help you feel better. So numerous bacteria in your gut can help produce neurotransmitters that regulate fear, anxiety, and stress. Research studies show that Bacillus bacteria can help produce more dopamine and norepinephrine. Dopamine, Escherichia bacteria produces serotonin that helps regulate anxiety and mood. Lactobacillus may help produce GABA, which is a very calming neurotransmitter. So you could see where essentially in our gut, if we're having a lot of digestive issues, we're not making enough healthy gut bacteria, we're not going to have all the nutrients and the tools our body needs to produce those healthy neurotransmitters to help us stay calm and relaxed. So it's interesting. Some researchers came back with a new term that's called psychobiotics, and those are actually defined as probiotics that help support mental health benefits. So it's just a really cool graphic where you see your gut and how your immune system is there. And if you eat healthy, you have enough healthy bacteria, you can support healthy inflammatory response. If you have enough healthy gut bacteria, you'll be able to produce healthy neurotransmitters such as GABA, dopamine, acetylcholine, serotonin. So it's a really cool connection. And then again, if you have enough healthy gut bacteria, your body can take it and also make some substrates and produce some prebiotics and short chain fatty acids that will also support your health. So what are some of the probiotic-rich foods? I'm sure you know a lot of those is yogurt, kefir, buttermilk, aged cheese, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, tempeh, brined pickles, kombucha, fermented veggies, natto, sourdough bread, raw milk and cheese, lassi, apple cider vinegar, especially the raw kind, unfiltered, is the best. Sometimes I like to give my clients an example. For example, if you take 1 tablespoon of sauerkraut, it equals almost 1 billion of live bacteria. But when you're looking to buy those fermented foods, make sure they're raw, they're not processed, because a lot of times they add a lot of preservatives to these foods in the grocery store, and then they lose a lot of their healthy gut bacteria, and that just kind of defeats the purpose for the probiotic-rich foods. So what are some of the health benefits of prebiotics? As I mentioned earlier, we need to have enough probiotics and eating prebiotic rich foods, because essentially your body takes those prebiotic rich foods and it feeds in your gut, and it helps produce short chain fatty acids. Short chain fatty acids are really important because they support your colon health. They help create the diversity in your gut, essentially, where um, it's not just probiotics and prebiotics, but we want to have different strains of probiotics. And short chain fatty acids are the main fuel source for your colon. It provides energy, it helps repair. Prebiotics also help nourish and stimulate the growth of different bacteria in your microbiome. And I like to combine them together because they really work together as a great team. So it's always good to make sure you're eating probiotics and prebiotic rich foods as well. So, what are some of the prebiotic foods? I'm sure you've used them a lot and you know them: mushrooms, artichoke, onions, asparagus, cabbage, apples, watermelon, white peaches, grapefruit, bananas, especially the bananas that are not completely ripe, that have a little bit of green on it. They have more resistant starch. So, that's it's high in prebiotic food, so that really helps to get more of that resistant starch for your body. Chickpeas, wheat pasta, red kidney beans, oats, wheat bread. Okay, so what are some of the foods you could eat to help you boost mental health? Just kind of really want to dive a little bit deeper into a diet. I don't like the word diet just because I think everything we do, it should be a lifestyle where we implement healthy habits, changing our routine to really, even if it's small baby steps, but implement something healthy and something that you can do and stick with it long term. Because I think anything restrictive and very rigid, it's just impossible to stay on it forever. So you kind of go on a diet, you do something extreme, you try to lose weight, but then if you go back to the old ways, it's easy to gain all the weight back up and just kind of be stuck in that whole loop of, back and forth. So I really encourage all my clients to eat the rainbow of fruits and vegetables. If you go to the supermarket, think of the perimeter of the store. That's where all the fresh produce is at. If you have access to go to the farmers market on the weekends, I love going to our local farmers market. They always have like really fun, unique veggies. A couple of weeks ago, I got purple kohlrabi. I just roasted it. You can also cut it up in a salad. So you really get to, think of it every time you go to the store without being overwhelmed. Just try one new veggie, or try one new fruit, just something new, because I know we're all creatures of habit. We go to the store, we tend to grab the same things we always buy. But eating those fruits and vegetables really helps to get all those antioxidants, but it also going to help your body to get a variety of nutrients to keep it healthy and strong, because they have a lot of vitamins and provide antioxidant support. Another aspect of the mental health is really healthy fats, and I'm talking here about omega-3 fatty acids. Unfortunately, with just a lot of refined and processed foods, a lot of our foods are loaded with inflammatory oils, which is omega-6. And those create a lot of inflammation in our brain, in our gut, in our body overall. And I think that's why the Mediterranean diet is so popular, because it's really rich in omega-3 healthy fats. So if you think of any wild caught, sustainably sourced salmon, mackerel, sardines, anchovies, those are really good. Chia seeds, flax seeds, different nuts, avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil. We want to eat those healthy fats because our brain is 60% made out of fat. We need those healthy fats to support healthy brain functions, to support optimal health in our body, because essentially we can make omega-3 fatty acids in our body. They have to be consumed from foods. So someone who is really struggling with a lot of mental health I always recommend eating a good serving of wild caught fish at least 2-3 times per week, or even take some supplements too, because it does really help reduce inflammation and support gut and mental health. It's also important to eat a lot of fiber-rich foods. The recommended for the US is 25 grams per day for women and 38 grams per day for men. A lot of times I see people struggle with constipation or diarrhea or bloating, high cholesterol, mental health, and all of those a lot of times could be improved just with increasing your fiber. And sometimes, it does help if you take one day and you just track at what you eat and put it in the app and just take a look. It will help you to see, are you meeting your daily needs for fiber? Are you too low? Maybe you're a bit too high, which is kind of rare. So just trying to see where you are and what you need to do to increase your fiber. The one thing I would say, if you feel like you are not eating enough and your fiber intake is really low, then just kind of increase it slowly and definitely drink lots of water, because if you go from not eating enough fiber to eating too much fiber, that could sometimes cause some digestive issues such as bloating and constipation. So definitely drink lots of water and take it slow. Also, optimal intake of protein-rich foods. Could be animal-based or plant-based. Uh, Protein-rich foods are really important because protein is made out of amino acids. It's the building block in our body. And a lot of times, what I see with mental health, when we run some of the in-depth blood work, that people are either not eating enough, protein, and they don't have enough nutrients to make some of those neurotransmitters. For example, if we take serotonin, when serotonin is formed in our body, we need enough B6. And very often, what I see with my clients, that they almost stuck in that cycle where they don't get enough B6 from their diet, and they can't make enough serotonin, so they're not going to feel their best. Sometimes it's such an easy improvement where you run the blood work, you see the nutrient deficiencies, and you say, hey, let's incorporate more foods. Let's help you make some of those healthy bacteria and some of those healthy neurotransmitters. So it's very important to eat. I always suggest at least your palm size of protein per meal on your plate to make sure you have enough. Also consuming probiotic and prebiotic rich foods. And I really love Mediterranean diet because it is healthy, heart healthy. It has a lot of healthy um, omega-3 fatty acids, also a lot of fiber. So lots of good places if you want to look for some recipes on a Mediterranean diet. So here's just really quickly, I wanted to do a visual how to build a healthy plate to support your gut and mental health. For someone who is trying to lose weight, if they want to achieve their optimal weight, I would recommend, doing at least half of your plate of non-starchy veggies. Think of cucumbers, cauliflower, broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, green peas, bok choy, any of those mushrooms, tomatoes, and then do 1/4 of your plate of protein. And don't forget to include a little bit of healthy fats. It could be in a salad, such as extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, a little bit of avocados, or a little bit of nuts. I think a lot of people sometimes thinking, oh, avocados are high in fat, they're high in calories, and that's true. But our body looks at, if you think of calories that come high in avocados versus a donut, your body responds differently to it on a cellular level, because avocados are loaded in fiber, potassium, and those healthy fats help you essentially keep your blood sugar balanced when you eat your meal, so you stay fuller longer, increases your satiety, and you just feel better too. Definitely add some fresh herbs. They add a lot of flavor, easy to do. Also, don't forget to include some probiotic and prebiotic rich foods too. So essentially, when research was done, when they looked at people who would usually eat a different type of veggies and fruits throughout the week, versus the ones that would eat all the same foods. The people who had more diversity in their diet, they had more diversity in their gut. Essentially, your body takes all these foods and it's able to make more prebiotics and just kind of support, because essentially what we want to do, we want you to have a lot of healthy gut bacteria, but we also want you to have different kind of healthy bacteria and different strains. And definitely drinking lots of water. It helps you stay hydrated. I always say you look at this beautiful salad, but if you don't drink enough water, you don't have enough fluids to take all these nutrients you just ate to the cells and where they need to go. So definitely drink lots of water. And if you're doing caffeine, coffee, or tea, I always say hydrate before you caffeinate. So drink a little bit of water to make sure you're staying hydrated. Okay, here's some of the high fiber foods: lentils, apples, strawberries, artichoke, blackberries. Really, any berries are really good high fiber, such as raspberries and blueberries. I don't think they're on this graphic. Whole grain bread, peas, oatmeal, black beans, chickpeas, pinto beans, whole grain pasta, almonds, sesame seeds, popcorn. So here are some of the supplements to support a healthy gut, what I've seen in my clinical practice, but really I would always recommend to consult with your doctor or healthcare provider before starting any supplements. But a lot of times for someone who is having a lot of gut and mental health issues, you might need supplements just kind of to really help you get healthier faster, along with a healthy lifestyle and a healthy diet. Because I see a lot of times, even it seems like we eat a lot of foods, they're high in calories, but we're really overfed and undernourished. Unfortunately, I know with the US and as well as India, as I'm working for an Indian company, there's just a lot of high rates of diabetes and blood sugar issues. So I know it's important to support your health and really look at the foods you're eating. So some of the supplements that are helpful are fish oil, L-glutamine powder. L-glutamine is specifically really, essentially an amino acid, but it is really good for leaky gut or intestinal permeability. So we have those small intestines, villi in our small intestine. And when we have a lot of stress or eating a lot of processed foods or have an infection, those villi open up, and that causes, as I mentioned earlier, then foods and infection and particles escapes to the bloodstream and your body attacks its own tissues. So that's the case with Hashimoto's. Very often someone who is having Hashimoto's, they have gut issues. So L-glutamine powder essentially helps to coat your lining and help you improve your intestinal health. Collagen is really good. 1/3 of our gut is made out of collagen. So collagen is amazing, just really easy to add a little bit to your morning coffee. Vitamin C, zinc, and of course, high quality probiotics and prebiotics and digestive enzymes. Because as we age, our body doesn't produce enough enzymes, so we might have trouble absorbing and assimilating nutrients. I've seen that with a lot of the elderly clients of mine, that oftentimes they're low in B12 and a lot of other nutrients just because they don't eat enough, they don't eat enough variety, but also even when they are eating healthy, they can absorb those nutrients. So digestive enzymes could really help support good gut health. So, what is the lifestyle for healthy gut and for mental health? That's really my favorite topic too. You definitely want to get at least 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night. Sleep is very important. Again, they've shown when you have optimal levels of healthy gut bacteria, you'll be sleeping better and you'll have a better mental health. Exercise at least 3 to 5 times a week, and it could be really any type of exercise. If you like running, biking, going to the gym, HIIT workouts, yoga, swimming, they're all great. For just, I always say, playing tennis, swimming, just really anything you like, because if you're doing something you don't like, most likely you won't stick with it long term. So choose something you really love and enjoy, or dancing. too. We love to dance. We have a little one. My daughter is one and a half, and sometimes all we have is 5 or 10 minutes for workout. So we'll put some music, we'll start dancing, we'll do some weights, and that's our workout. And she's dancing with us, and we're just all having fun. So now every time she wakes up, she's like, "Mommy, turn on some music. I want to dance." It's too cute. Definitely practicing a lot of regular relaxation, meditation, yoga, tai chi, self-hypnosis, or progressive muscle relaxation. There's a lot of research on meditations. It's one of the things that I prescribe all my clients because we're all stressed, we're all busy, we don't sleep enough, we have a lot going on, we're just bombarded with all the information, and meditation, I always explain to my clients, every time you meditate, even if it's 5 minutes, your body goes into that rest and digest mode. It starts absorbing nutrients better. It produces more neurotransmitters, melatonin that helps you sleep. You are absorbing nutrients better. You're decreasing your inflammation in the gut. You're really absorbing nutrients better. It's really amazing. I've noticed, honestly, just with when we're doing nutrition and lifestyle factors, and all my clients that are practicing regular meditation, they get healed and get better twice as faster. It's incredible. I've noticed that the meditation really just helps to bring that stress down, lower cortisol, lower blood sugar, really support their sleep. And I know we're all busy, so just start with 5 minutes if that's all you have. If you have 10-15 minutes, that's even better. And on the days when you're even maybe more stressed or have a lot going on, you could do a longer one just to help you get back on track. Definitely practicing daily gratitude. I love the 5-minute journal, or even just if you want to take a piece of paper, write down 2-3 things you're grateful for each day. It's just such a great habit, and it's proven to help you improve your mental health and support your well-being. Definitely practicing mindful eating and really not doing anything else, concentrating on your food, savoring each bite, enjoying a moment. I like this one too. Take a regular mental health day where you unplug from the electronics, you go in nature, you enjoy yourself, you go to the beach or hike or in the mountains, and really just take the time to unplug and recharge your batteries. You know, our phones need to be charged, and we're the same way. We need to be recharged and replenished to feel our best. And definitely avoiding electronics 1 or 2 hours before bedtime, because blue lights from all of those electronics, they disrupt our sleep cycles and they really affect our rest. Also taking a break from social media if you need to. And some of my favorite meditation apps are Insight Timer, Calm, and Headspace. I know we've talked about meditations. I use Insight Timer. They have over 1,000 different meditations. The app is free. They have a paid subscription for some of their courses, but they have amazing meditation teachers from around the world. So it's a great app to check it out. And I don't have any financial interest in it. I just love it myself and I use it. That's it. I'm just checking on the time. How are we doing? Okay.
You did great. Please join me, everyone, in a virtual applause for our outstanding and excellent presenter. That was great. Lots of wonderful tips, practical ideas, suggestions. So thank you. And I do see some people have raised their hand. They have some questions. You can also put your question in the chat room.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, ask questions in the chat and I'd love to answer. I know there was a lot of information, so.
Okay. Abha, can I go ahead and...
Sure, Dr. Dilip Sarkar would like to make some comments, so we can spotlight him.
Yeah, Ravi, you can spotlight so she can see us. Okay. Leanne, it was a wonderful presentation, and you presented the gut health and the mental health. I have another friend, he's a retired radiologist, Dr. Siddiqui. He's from our Norfolk, Virginia Beach area, and many of our participants also knows him. The first, my comment is, you have been invited by the Center of Integrative Medicine and Yoga. And let me give you a little perspective to the whole audience, because that's what their background is. You talk about gut health and mental health, maybe a recent concept. For last 6,000 years in yoga and Ayurveda, the word we use, and others Deepak knows the word very well, is called Jatha An Tatha Man. Jatha An means your food, and Man means your mind. What is your food? There is a mind. Second, the food classified in yoga and Ayurveda is called Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. There are no other classification of food in yoga and Ayurveda. And Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic is the state of mind. Sattvic is a purity of your mind. Rajasic is your activity of your mind. Tamasic is a dullness of your mind. A whole GI system is supplied by your parasympathetic nerve from your mouth to your anal canal. So whole parasympathetic tone in yoga and Ayurveda is called Agni. It's called a Jathar Agni. It's a digestive fire. And the way it is being described in yoga and Ayurveda is that when you eat a food, as Abha clearly said, it's not what you eat, what you digest. And the reason is our body has all different tissues. I have liver, I have a bone, I have a cartilage, I have a kidney, and all my cells are going through a cycle called birth, life, and death, called apoptosis. So all the cells needs to be replaced. So we don't eat cartilage to replace our cartilage. We don't eat liver to replace our liver. So yoga and Ayurveda says when you eat a food and you have a proper Jathar Agni, Jathar is a stomach, Agni digestive fire, food goes through 7 tissues called Saptadhatu, called Rasha Dhatu, Rakta Dhatu, Mamsa Dhatu, Metta Dhatu, Osti Dhatu, Majja Dhatu, Shukra Dhatu. Rasha Dhatu is your plasma. The food first converts into plasma, then converts into Rakta Dhatu, is a blood, then converts into Mamsa Dhatu, is the muscles, then go to your Metta Dhatu, is your fat, Asti Dhatu is your bones and joints, Majja Dhatu is your nervous tissue, Shukra Dhatu is your reproductive, then it forms a substance called Ojas, and Ojas is the immunity. So coming back, you had an excellent presentation, but the whole Yoga and Ayurveda concept is every disease, every problem, you name it, starts from the GI tract. And the food is not an issue. Reason is, look at what we eat, look at what Russians eat, look at what Germans eat, sauerkraut and sausage, all day and night. It is the digestion. It is a digestion, and digestion is the activation of parasympathetic tone. You know, in West, look at them. Oh, you have a food you need to burn. Okay, what do you mean by burn? If you want to burn, that is a sympathetic overdrive. And the food which is not properly digested, it shows up in our blood as a high cholesterol, high fat, high triglyceride, high uric acid. Once the food is digested, you do not have any, call it dis-ease. Thank you. It is a wonderful production, wonderful presentation. We loved it. But this is our part because you have been invited by the Center of Integrative Medicine and Yoga. I will start with the opening the whole audience for their comments Oh, and Abha, you can look into it. There are 11 somebody in the chat room, and people who have raised their hands, you can ask them to go ahead and unmute and talk. And I'm going to mute myself now.
Yeah, I'm
And
happy to answer some of the questions in the chat too. Yeah, and thank you for your addition. That was wonderful. I've
And
learned.
you can remove the spot, sorry, Ravi, you can remove the spotlight from me now. And then so you can put a spotlight, the person who is speaking.
So someone, I think Jean asked, I joined late. What's the difference between prebiotics and probiotics? So probiotics is the healthy gut bacteria. Prebiotics they come from foods. So essentially, we eat those foods, and probiotics, healthy gut bacteria, uses as a fuel and substrate to produce short chain fatty acids from prebiotics. Thank you, very informative. You're welcome. We eat cooked vegetables. Do you think that's fine? Yes, of course. I always say for someone who is having a lot of digestive gut issues, they need more cooked vegetables because they're easy to digest and absorb. A lot of raw foods have a lot of fiber, so but that's absolutely fine. Yes. Thank you so much. You provided me with the idea to track my foods and increase my water intake. I follow most of your suggestions already, but there's always room for improvement. Much appreciation. You're welcome, Susie. Of course, we always all have something we could work on. So if we take collagen by mouth, does it break down by the digestive enzyme? I mean, our digestion starts in our gut, but essentially will continue on in the stomach and the small intestine too. So it should, I mean, the digestion process starts in the mouth, but it continues on, and your body will be able to break it down into amino acids and use it. I'm sorry I have to join late. Did you talk about macronutrient supplements? If not, what do you think of those? Thank you. I haven't had as much chance to dive into micronutrient supplements. Those are very beneficial too for someone who is maybe having a lot of gut and mental health issues, and you usually know if someone's having absorption issues, they might benefit from those to help them increase their levels, but it's best to test first and see if you need them. But those could be very, very, very helpful. How can we get a copy of the slides? Abha, that's a great question. I'm happy to share them if you
they will be on the website.
Okay, awesome. Okay,
yes,
great.
we will upload them in YouTube, and then we will include the link to the YouTube in our next weekly announcement. Yeah.
Awesome. I need an Ayurvedic doctor. Please recommend someone near Virginia Beach. That's a great question. Yeah.
Dr. Sarkar, you want to say about that?
Yes, Ayurvedic doctor in Virginia Beach area. We had a wonderful Ayurvedic physician here. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us, and Abha knows we're talking about, and Adarsh knows. It's a Vijay Stalling.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now we have another center. It's called Sattvic Space in Portsmouth, which was providing all the Ayurvedic practices. They were not doing well during pandemic, but they're back and they're functioning. So if anybody wants to get in touch with them, it is called Sattvic Space, SATTVIC, Sattvic Space Yoga and Health. It's in Portsmouth, Virginia. You can Google it, or Abha, you can post it, or you can put it on the chat probably.
Sure.
So that is the only person who is available in Virginia Beach area now.
Abha, I have a question. You know, a long time ago, I read a book called Molecules of Emotion by Candace Pert, P-E-R-T. She's the one who discovered the opium receptor in the body. And she refused to give credit to her boss. So they had a fight at NIH. Anyway, it's a fascinating book. She talks about cocktail of peptides, that you can create your mood with a cocktail of peptides. And I've always been intrigued about these peptides. Any comments?
I've heard of that book, and I haven't read it, but I've heard another comment from that book that it says when we're more positive and happy, we have on all our receptors in the body extra dopamine sitting and kind of kicking out all the infections and viruses. So the kind of the idea behind it was that it helps for someone who's positive and uplifting, they can prevent and wouldn't get as sick as much. That's a great question about peptides. And yeah, I think that's essentially comes back to amino acids and protein optimal levels, just because what I've learned, we've had a lot of studies in the biochemistry, and essentially with all of those feel-good neurotransmitters, melatonin, serotonin, we all need amino acids. They're like building blocks, they are precursors, they are substrates, they are like little cofactors that feed in all of those processes and reactions to happen. So that makes sense that we need to, yeah.
I'd like to continue with one little question about
Yes.
eating garlic, raw garlic, because I know when Dr. Hegde, he is actually a cardiologist. On lunch, he always have one piece of garlic, and he's kept him very well all his life. He's pretty elderly now. Anyway, I just thought in case you have any comment on that, and onions, raw.
Yes, no, great foods. Garlic is such a good anti-inflammatory food, especially if you can eat it, and if you can peel it and then cut it up a little bit and let it sit, it produces more of that active ingredient allicin in it, but it's an amazing anti-inflammatory foods. And also garlic and onions are great prebiotic rich foods, so they help produce that healthy gut bacteria. So that's wonderful to see a cardiologist really taking that active preventative step to eat some of those healthy anti-inflammatory foods for his heart and his overall health.
Thank you. It may be not socially very good, but it's okay.
Okay, others, can I make one comment on that? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Abha, can you hear me?
we can
Okay.
hear you.
Yes.
Okay, the two comments, Leanne, on the same context, on the molecule of emotion, exactly what you said, the peptides at the basis, others, is for the neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters are the molecule of emotions. That's what the the best way to explain. And about the garlic, in yoga and Ayurveda, garlic is a rajasic food. And rajasic is a stimulator of your Jathar Agni. So what we have seen, Dr. Hegde, the person I know him very well too. He's a Western trained cardiologist and has a profound interest in yoga and Ayurveda. So we are having a lunch with him, and in front of others, he took one big garlic and put it in his mouth, So it is the rajasic food, that's a concept, others. Yeah. And rajasic food ignites your Jathar Agni. It is called Agni Deepana. And the way the whole digestive process in yoga and Ayurveda had been described, Agni Deepana, then called Ama Pachana. Ama is a toxic material of undigested food. So that also, Jathar Agni does Ama Pachana. Then it's called Nadi Shodhana. Then once the amas are gone, the channels get cleared up, called Nadi Shodhana, then called Oja Sthapana. Oja is the immunity, Sthapana is the establishment. So the whole digestive process in Ayurveda and yoga, starting from eating a onion and garlic, is Agni Dipana, Amapachana, Nadi Shodhana, Ojasthapana.
Wow.
Again, it might be all little Sanskrit for you, but it is very clear to the audience we have here. This audience understands what I'm talking about. Thank you. It was a wonderful discussion, wonderful presentation. Abha, you are the timekeeper. So you let us know.
No,
And
I learned so much. I am enjoying this so much. Thank you for sharing.
Any questions, comments, from anybody? I saw some hands being raised. What happened to those hands?
Yeah, I saw them.
Did you see any more hands there? No more hands raised?
I think they might have put them in the chat, their questions. So
Yes.
Mita is going to ask something. I see Mita's hand is raised.
Yeah, I already did about the collagen and the cooked vegetable. Because people are taking collagen, but I had as I know that these will break down to ultimately the amino acids. So why don't we take the first class protein, not the collagen? So that was my question.
yeah, no, it really, you're right. Just it starts with the basics, with protein. But I think sometimes, for someone who's maybe they're busy or they don't eat enough, sometimes it just helps to get it a little bit easier and faster. I just say put a little bit in your coffee or tea, but absolutely, essentially, they come from the amino acids. If you eat optimally, then you're getting all of that.
Yeah. Then because collagens are expensive and
Yes.
people are buying those, but instead of buying those, they can have the regular first class protein from either vegetarian or the animal source.
Yes.
So that was my one question.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Someone asked if after eating banana and avocado gives discomfort. That's a great question. Usually when someone tells me that could be so many things. It could be where you might be having food sensitivity to these foods, where it's not the allergy where you eat it, but that you're sensitive to it, where sometimes when you eat the same foods, your body can become sensitive to it. It could be where maybe there's some bacterial overgrowth or some dysbiosis, imbalance of things, or maybe not eating enough fiber. So I would definitely maybe give these foods a break. Usually what helps is if you take 21 days, kind of do a little bit of an elimination diet and take a break from banana and avocado, then try it again and see if those discomfort goes away. Sometimes that helps reduce inflammation.
And I can make one comment.
Yes.
Make one comment from that line is that we're all coming from yoga, and I'm a Western trained physician, but I'm talking from yoga and Ayurveda because that's what our center is. That the whole yogic and Ayurvedic concept is that when food is properly digested, and when food is a part of your body which you need, you don't get any discomfort from your stomach. Second, when the food is properly digested, you have three particular signs. The first sign is no smell in your excreta. That means your stool doesn't smell, your urine doesn't smell, your perspiration doesn't smell. If you have a smell in either of the three, we call it malas, excreta, the food was not digested and it was not part of your body. Second is that when the food is properly digested, you feel lightness in your body and mind. The moment you feel the heaviness, what you call a food coma, that is the worst thing can happen to your body. Third, what is called the intermittent fasting. I mean, it's the very most popular thing about digestion, intermittent fasting. If you see it, the intermittent fasting have been described to eat food between 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. In yoga and Ayurveda, the main meal is called your pitta time between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So the lunch is the main meal. So when you had a proper digestion from Ayurvedic, these sensations, even somebody says, I eat garlic, I don't have any smell. Unless I eat garlic, I had a profound smell. Smell means the food was not digested and did not become those 7 tissues, the Saptadhatu. And Leanne, the best part of it, this is being described about how many, 5,000 years back or 6,000 years back, and it is still there. And still is a modern science, what we described about 6,000 years back. Thank you.
Since
A question to consider
I
digestive.
will ask you about coffee. We started with coffee. What do you think of that as a food item? Any downside to it, having too much? My wife can have 5 cups of coffee and fall asleep. So
That's a great question. I think it just depends on the person. I kind of look at the whole person. Some people, they don't have enough digestive enzymes to kind of process that caffeine in your liver. So they have trouble falling asleep if they have too much. Some people, if they have too much coffee, that could stimulate too much cortisol for them. They're more anxious. I think it depends on the person. I look at that, or too acidic. So, but I'm not against coffee, but I think it just depends on what the person is going through or how is their health in general.
she blames it on her Danish background. So
Yes.
Okay. Leanne, answering to that, this is wife and my wife, they're good friends. My wife will look at a coffee, not even drink, look at a coffee before 4 p.m. She'll never go to sleep.
Me too.
Okay, and Pat, his wife, will have to drink a cup of coffee to go to sleep.
yeah.
So it has nothing to do with your GI tract and everything. It has to be supratentorial. You know what supratentorial means, It is above the tentorium. That means above in the limbic system. It is not it is in amygdala and hippocampus. That's what you call a mind. The mind in the brain is called a limbic system.
Okay.
That's what it has to be. Ravi has his hand raised. He must be.
No,
Ravi, go
I
ahead.
just appreciated the discussion. I was just appreciating the discussion.
Yeah,
The
he's
coffee.
giving a thumbs up.
It was a thumbs, yeah. But thank you both.
Since nobody's asking, I'll ask.
I
a
think
question
Susan has a question.
You
Susan, you want to
said
go
about
ahead?
drinking water. When we grew up in India, for instance, always said, give about half an hour break before you have a lot of water. But here, when I came, everybody was drinking soda with all kinds of thing with the food. So I kind of was a little puzzled. Is it required that you don't separate the water, drinking a little like half an hour later or something? Is there a time involved?
I think definitely it's not good to drink lots of liquids with your food because it does dilute your digestive enzymes and your food. But I think a little bit is okay, but definitely not a lot. I agree. I don't think it's, at least give it half an hour or a little break. But I don't think there's exact science, but I think a little bit of break is good. And yes, for Susan, definitely digestive enzymes are very helpful for someone who maybe, is chronically stressed or having suboptimal digestive issues. So it could really help just to break down foods patterns. And even if you think of some of their foods like pineapple have natural enzymes in them too. So yeah, definitely it could help. about digestion, do you think that they are worthwhile for a person age 65 plus? Yes, almost a lot of the, just clinical and what I've seen in a stool test, when we do comprehensive in-depth stool test, I see a lot of elderly people unfortunately don't have enough enzymes. So it does help, will help with absorption of nutrients, with production of B12. Yes, I would recommend those. Great questions and great comments and a lot of good insight. I've learned so much too today. I love it. Can we eat fruits and oatmeal together on breakfast? I think it just really depends on, I think so. I think a lot of times for someone who's eating oatmeal, and for example, if they're eating a lot of banana, it can spike their blood sugar and kind of help them feel like that food coma that we were talking about, or then hungry in an hour. Usually I would listen to your body. If you eat that and you don't feel well, or you feel hungry in an hour, that's probably was too much sugar. So I like oatmeal, but if you want to add a little bit of nuts, some berries, just would be mindful. You don't want to do too much of it, as it can spike your blood sugar and maybe leave you a little bit more tired. Good question.
Okay. Yoga and Ayurveda, during yoga and Ayurveda, it clearly says the fruit should be eaten alone. Fruit should not be mixed with any food. And all the fruit, as Leanne said, has to be the 7 coloring fruits and vegetables. It's not only green, not only red, it's a vibgyon, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. And the reason for it is that the fruit has an enzyme called your intestinal glycoprotein, which interferes with the absorption of micronutrients. Fruit has an enzyme called cytochrome P450, which interferes with the metabolism of products in the liver. So now you will see a lot of medications, statins, don't take with the fruit juice. Fruit juice being, so the yoga and Ayurveda recommendation is, if you want to have a fruit, eat fruit as a separate snack in the afternoon with the 7 coloring fruits. If you are pushed to eat fruit with your main meal, then eat fruit first. Eat fruit first, give a little time, and then if you don't know how to eat, then eat from light to heavy. So this is one thing, our tongue only knows the taste. Our tongue doesn't know it is a protein, fat, or carbohydrate. And based on the taste, body starts your digestive process. So giving you one concept is that bitter, we have a 6 taste in Ayurveda, other than 4 taste in West, called astringent, which contracts your mouth, bitter, pungent is the hot, like a chili, salty, sour, sweet, 6 taste. Bitter is the most powerful taste to initiate your digestive process. It's called your Agni, Jathar Agni. So say, for example, we have a diabetes. In yoga and Ayurveda, will say diabetes is body cannot digest sugar. Your digestive fire is low. So the treatment for diabetes in Ayurveda is bitter. We call it Kerala. Many of you know what is Kerala is. And Nava, what is the other leaf? It's called neem leaf. Bitter. So give it bitter. On the other hand, sweet has a lowest digestive fire. So coming back again and trying to say the fruit has to be eaten alone because it's interference with the enzymes. And other thing about the fruit is, if you eat all the coloring fruits, you really don't need any micronutrients. All the micronutrients comes from your fruit. if you eat blueberry, if you eat a raspberry, if you eat, let's face it. We go to Whole Food, we go to Wegman to buy a fresh fruit because we think this money we spend in the fresh fruit is cheaper than all the medications we take collectively. At our age group, all of our friends taking 10 medications, $3,000 a month, only the medication charges. But the fresh fruit provides most of your micronutrients. Thank you. Abha, it is getting over time, so I leave it up to you to be the judge for your timing.
Yes, the dosha times, according to Ayurveda cycle of time, we should be now getting ready to go to bed because, 10 o'clock, your pitta time starts. Before that is kapha time. So here we are. Wonderful. Thank you everyone for joining us. And today is also in India, it's a very special day. Today is Raksha Bandhan. And, Adarsh had mentioned his sister has joined. That is so awesome. And today's full moon also, it's just great. All right, everyone. And please, look out for the link. We will be sending the recording link and that would have the entire session up there. So thank you. And